Farabi, the philosopher of civilization. Under the state program Ruhani Jangaru, the Republic of Kazakhstan. Dedicated to the 1150th anniversary of Abu Nasir al-Farabi. Abu Nasir Muhammad ibn Uzlag ibn Tarkhan al-Farabi al-Turki was renowned as the second master after Aristotle. He was an eminent scientist with encyclopedic knowledge, an outstanding Islamic philosopher, and a highly esteemed representative of world philosophy. Al-Farabi was born in 870 AD, near the city of Atrar, one of the most important centers on the Silk Road. His formation as a scientist began in Atrar. All his life he comprehended knowledge in the largest centers of civilizations and cultures of that time: Bukhara, Samarkand, Murphy, Baghdad, Haran, Rey, Cairo, Aleppo, and Sham. Al-Farabi flourished at the time of the medieval Arab Muslim culture, the 10th century AD. It was the Islamic Golden Age and an era of Islamic Renaissance. In our time, in the 21st century, the ideas of Al-Farabi have become vital again. His views showed the existence of deep relationships between politics, religion, and happiness. Today, the world faces threats of confrontation between the Islamic and Western civilizations, and an increase in extremist and terrorist sentiments, which are often associated with Islam. In this context, Al-Farabi's philosophy becomes essential for ensuring unity and harmony among humankind. More than 100 of his discourses that were devoted to logic, metaphysics, ethics, political and social philosophy, music, and medicine have survived to our time. He was the first to systematize music on a mathematical basis and demonstrated it as one of the directions of science. In his motherland, in Kazakhstan, one of the leading national universities is named after him, Abu Nasir al-Farabi al-Turki.
In the time of the Roman Empire, science hadn't yet been recognized. As a result, a number of works of Aristotle were left without attention. The time of Al-Farabi was a period of hate. It was a scientist of that time that raised the study of Aristotle's heritage to a high level. One of the first and greatest among them is our Al-Farabi. Studying Aristotle's works, relying on them from a scientific point of view, he developed his teaching to a level of mastery. Al-Farabi is recognized for this throughout the world, with the name the Second Master.
Prominent European philosophers of the Middle Ages, such as Albertus Magnus and Thomas Aquinas, widely used Al-Farabi's work in their theoretical research. The dissemination of the teachings of Al-Farabi throughout Europe was performed by the scholars Avicenna, Ibn Sina, and Averroes, Ibn Rushd. Thanks to Averroes' work, Roger Bacon, who was fluent in Arabic, as well as other great scholars of the New Age, Benedict Spinoza, Thomas Hobbes, René Descartes, and Francis Bacon were able to learn about the teachings of Muslim philosophers. Despite the European centrism characteristic of that time, these scholars recognized and utilized Islamic culture and science. The Ministry of Philosophy and Religion came to a conflict with the teachings of science in Europe. Only in the 14th and 15th centuries did European thinkers admit their delusion, and the return to the ideas of Aristotle, Plato, and other Greek philosophers allowed them to get out of this crisis. According to some scientists of those times, it was Al-Farabi's works on natural sciences that led Europe to the beginning of the resurgence, the Renaissance. Al-Farabi's work thereby became a symbol of the unity and mutual understanding between Eastern and Western cultures.
Al-Farabi was not only a translator, but also developed his philosophical doctrines in the Arabic language. Consequently, Greek philosophy got an Arabic equivalent. This is crucially important. As a result, his philosophical doctrines were written in Arabic. He had a great influence on the emergence of the Arabic philosophical vocabulary and its further development. Scholars believe that Arabic philosophical vocabulary reached its peak in Al-Farabi's papers.
Kemale ermiş olduğunu, yetkinleşmiş olduğunu söyleyebiliriz.
Al-Farabi's humanist worldview is a coherent system covering the problems of science, religion, sociology, logic, ethics, and aesthetics. In the center of the concept of a virtuous society is the theme of man, his intellectual and moral perfection, the desire for personal and social happiness, and the search for a better future. Al-Farabi systematized his social and political views and united them in a common work called the Treatise on the Views of the Residents of a Virtuous City.
In his dissertation titled On the Views of the Inhabitants of Virtuous City, Abu Nasr al-Farabi divides cities into virtuous and non-virtuous. At that time, the word city meant city-state. How can inhabitants of city become happy? It depends on the governors. If the governor is educated, fair, and immaculate, then all inhabitants would be happy. If the city governor is uneducated, ignorant, a liar, and has other negative qualities, then the inhabitants of that city would be unhappy. Therefore, people, particularly leaders, must constantly be in a spiritual search and strive for moral self-improvement.
Al-Farabi compares the city to a body, where each part of it perfectly performs its assigned function, working together harmoniously to achieve common goals. People, as social and political beings, must help each other and cooperate to achieve perfection and happiness. Abu Nasr pays great attention to the personality of a leader of the state. Leaders are born and brought up to lead people to well-being. As a thinker who deeply studied the social realities of his era, Al-Farabi considers war between states unnatural and condemns the various vices of statesmen governing them. Now, these moral characteristics necessary for statesmen, the love of truth, nobility, and greatness of character, has not lost its value and meaning. It is unknown whether the existence of the ideal society described in the teachings of Al-Farabi could be possible. Perhaps this can only be established by future research. However, in the context of new global challenges, it is important for modern society not to lose its desire for perfection. The entire UN system is working to solve global problems, especially within the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals.
I truly believe we can make our world more safe and secure. We can settle conflicts, overcome hatred, and defend shared values. But we can only do that together. I urge leaders everywhere to make this New Year's resolution. Narrow the gaps, bridge the divides, rebuild trust by bringing people together around common goals. Unity is the path.
The philosophy of UN global citizenship is parallel to the great thinker's idea of a virtuous community. I would like to restate the call of Al-Farabi to all mankind. Only together, united, can people achieve happiness. Only by uniting many people can a person attain the perfection to which he is destined by nature. Al-Farabi, as a philosopher of civilizations, refers to all mankind, irrespective of national or religious affiliation, urging them to rise above the strife and enmity and to unite efforts for the sake of a better life.